All right, well, good afternoon, everybody. Welcome to the June Wellness Webinar. This is Laura Maloof Miller. I'm a Senior Health Education Specialist with HealthNet. Kristen Kayla, Health Promotion Consultant with HealthNet, as you can tell, is also on the line with me today. Just a few housekeeping items to review before we begin. Participants are muted upon entering the webinar to avoid any background noise. And if you want to change your audio settings, you click on the Join Audio icon. Also, at the end of the webinar, there'll be a quick 4-question anonymous survey. Go ahead and go to the next slide, Elise. So now, if you're having any technical difficulties, feel free to chat directly to Kristen. And to open the chat box, you simply hover over the Zoom toolbar at the top of the screen, and you're going to see a chat box icon there. You simply click on the icon and it should appear. Now, Kristen will receive your messages in real time, and she'll respond to your messages in order that she receives them. If you happen to be attending this webinar in a conference room, or you used a single webinar access with your team, please chat that number of attendees to Kristen so that we can get a more accurate number on attendance. Next, Elise. The information provided in this presentation is intended solely for the general information of the audience. It's not medical advice and shall not replace consultation with your physician or other qualified health provider. If you have any health-related questions or problems, please seek the advice of your physician or other qualified health provider. And next, we are so delighted to bring you a guest speaker today. This wellness webinar is brought to you by HealthNet and our partner, John Muir Health. Now, John Muir Health is a leader in healthcare in Northern California, specifically the San Francisco Bay Area. They're an integrated, not-for-profit system of doctors, hospitals, and other services. Our guest speaker today is Claudia Graich Vasquez. She is a registered dietitian and certified diabetes educator. This is such a great topic, nutrition tips to increase metabolism. Please note, if we happen to run over today, feel free to drop off. A link to the recording will be sent to all who registered. Please welcome Claudia, and thank you, Claudia, for presenting today.
Sure, thank you. Thank you so much for having me. Like Laura said, I'm a registered dietitian, nutritionist, and a certified diabetes educator. I've been in the field for over 20 years, so I've definitely seen so many fads and myths in the nutrition world come and go. Next. So what I wanted to do briefly is just define what metabolism is. I've got a couple slides to explain this because it could really be an entire day of explanation. It's very, very complex, but keeping it on the more basic side, what your metabolism, it consists of 4 things, ideally, basically. Number 1, your BMR, which is something you've probably heard of, your basal metabolic rate, which I'll explain a little bit more in the next slide. It's basically what keeps us alive and moving. It's a little piece of every part of our cell in the body. Then there's the thermic effect of food. This is what it takes, the calories that it actually takes to digest your food, kind of work the whole GI tract. There's the PA, or sometimes it's explained as EAT, but this is your physical activity expenditure, or what it takes your body to calorie-wise burn for exercise. And then there's the NEAT component, which is something I want you to remember, NEAT. I'm going to talk about that more as the presentation moves forward. This is your non-exercise activity thermogenesis. So it's what we do in addition in our day, walking from our car to the office, taking the stairs, all this little extra activity that we can get in through our day. Next. So again, you put all those components, those 4 components together, and that's what makes up the calories that we need and use within a day. So this is what most people equate with their metabolism. Next. So again, the slide after this, you'll see it more in a visual form, which I really like, but this is basically your basal metabolic rate uses up about 60 to 80% of the calories that you burn daily. So breathing, heart rate, your kidney function, how we remove waste, the growth and repair of all your cells in the body, your eyelashes, just blinking your eyes, everything. So even when we're sleeping, our metabolism is going. You actually can't live a second without using your metabolism. 10 to 15% of our calories are used for digestion and absorption. That's that TEF component. 10 to 20% of the calories are used for that NEAT, so the non-exercise activity thermogenesis, and only 5 to 10% of calories that we use is used for exercise or physical activity. So I know when I first started learning more about metabolism, I definitely thought that exercise was a much bigger component of it, but you can see we're only using about 5 to 10% of that. Next. So this is that visual that I was talking about. So again, the calories that we need to use and move our body, the majority of it is used just for that basal metabolic rate, just to keep us alive and cell turnover and all those things that I mentioned earlier. The second next component of our calorie burning and calorie needs is that NEAT component. Okay, so the non-exercise activity thermogenesis, which I will talk about all of these in a little bit more detail. Next. So what can affect our metabolism? I know there was a note in the chat that, or we were just talking about just thinking about food, looking at food causes us to gain weight. There's lots of things that play here. So genetics definitely can affect our metabolism. We inherit our basal metabolic rate from, our parents and beyond. A lot of us have probably experienced age. As we age, we may find we can't eat as much as we used to. Sleep, I will spend a little time on sleep, but sleep is really important. And we're finding more and more studies over the years on how sleep can affect or actually reduce our metabolism. It's definitely tied into weight loss, maintaining weight loss, diabetes, so many chronic health conditions. Sleep is incredibly important. Hormones. So your thyroid hormone levels in particular can influence your basal metabolic rate. And for women, as we enter perimenopause and menopause, I think I've got a slide on that, on how that affects our metabolism as well. Muscle mass. So yeah, the more muscle you have, the higher your basal metabolic rate. Muscle burns more than fat. I know we've all heard that before. Men have more muscle mass than women. So something else we touched on as we were talking before my presentation, if you start a challenge or any sort of weight loss with your partner, if it's a male, a lot of times they tend to lose weight a lot quicker than females. Body size. So the bigger you are, the more calories are needed to survive. So people who are bigger have higher metabolism. And then gut bacteria. So we are hearing so much about the gut microbiome. It is still an area that needs a lot more research. But yeah, we're kind of seeing how that plays a role in our metabolism. There's definitely foods, there's pre and probiotics and even postbiotics now they're talking about, and that could be a whole hour talk. So that, like I said, we still need a lot more information on that, but yes, it's important to keep our gut bacteria healthy. And that is primarily through foods, again, that I can specifically go into later, but a lot of fiber is good for that. Next. All right, so for women, I was talking about how the hormones play a role. So when women and a lot of times this can start in the mid 40s, late 40s, early 50s, are entering perimenopause or menopause, they start to experience an accelerated muscle loss. And when we lose muscle, we tend to gain fat. So what we see is an average weight gain for women during menopause is around 13 pounds. So as our estrogen starts to decrease, our muscle mass is also decreasing. Hence why, even though we feel like we haven't changed much in our daily living, we tend to gain weight. So there's actually, there's so much more going on behind the scenes, but that's one explanation for it. Women may tend to be more tired, so then they're not as active as they used to be. And what happens when, there's lots of things that can happen when we get more tired. We may turn to caffeine or foods that just give us a quick fix, a lot of high sugar foods. So it's multifactorial. So women, especially during this time, they need to be prepared for this. I know a lot of doctors don't talk about this with women. So it's definitely something I hope that will be changing in the future. You can definitely bring this up. So being proactive during this time. And as you'll see, as my talk continues, the importance of maintaining muscle mass and doing some specific exercises to help you maintain that muscle mass or build more. Next. So this goes to men or women. Our muscle mass starts decreasing after the age of 30. So a lot of people think it starts at 40 or 50, but really once we turn 30, we lose this small percentage of muscle mass each decade. So anywhere from 3 to 5%. Muscle requires a few more calories than fat to maintain. So as we lose that muscle, our body's calorie burning furnaces or our metabolism will also slow down. Next. So let's go over some of our metabolism myths and truths. Now, this list could be a lot longer, but these were some of the more popular ones that I hear about. Can green tea or chili pepper, spicy foods, or apple cider vinegar boost my metabolism? Myth or truth? That's a myth. Next. There really is no magic food, pill, or supplement that can speed up metabolism, despite what you may see on Facebook, Instagram, all over the internet. The supplement industry is a gazillion-dollar industry. So they want your money. They know how to target people who are more vulnerable. You may see a temporary boost in metabolic rates, and it's usually really, really small. There have been some really small studies looking at chili pepper or green tea or vinegar, but it's not enough to offset eating too many calories in a day or not doing anything else. So I always throw caution to this. I feel we can focus our energy in other areas that will be a lot more helpful. I've seen a lot of apple cider vinegar back in the picture recently for people making their, quote unquote, healthy sodas. I just say use caution. It's great to use your vinegars when you're making salad dressings or cooking, but be careful when drinking it or taking it by tablespoons, because it can really eat away at your enamel on your teeth. So it's, definitely something to discuss with your dentist. Next. All right, how about, does skipping breakfast slow down my metabolism? Myth or truth? That's also a myth, a big myth. Next. So we do have studies that show that eating breakfast is linked with weight loss in some individuals, because people who tend to eat breakfast are also more active. So when we do these really large studies, we have to look at the whole big picture on what these people are doing. The whole term breakfast means to break the fast, your overnight fast. And I know there's a lot of buzz about intermittent fasting, but the latest research just shows it's not a magic number where you have to be fasting for so long. That just, has the weight falling off of you. For most people, it is a oh, now I can't think of the term. It just has to do with how you're timing your whole, when you're taking in your calories, whether it's within 24 hours or within 12 hours, as long as you're not going above what that body needs on a daily basis, that's how you prevent that weight gain. So there's not enough convincing research to show that skipping breakfast slows down your metabolism. Again, it's the total amount of energy or calories that you consume over the day, no matter what that timing looks like, versus the number of meals you eat. So when I meet with people one-on-one, if they've never been a breakfast eater, they can't, they don't have time, or they've just never liked it. I don't force anyone to start eating breakfast. And then I work with a lot of people who just feel like if they don't eat breakfast every morning, it just sets them up later in the day to overeat. So again, we have to look at the individual and how it works for them, but it's not a magic meal. Next. Does eating late or before bed slow down my metabolism or cause me to gain weight? Myth or truth? That's also a myth. Next. It's really the extra calories, not when you eat them, that causes that weight gain. Again, there's little evidence to support that eating after 8 p.m. slows your metabolism. Overeating at night causes weight gain. Again, just too many calories. So if you've met your caloric needs by the time you've eaten dinner, then of course, if you have something after dinner or while you're watching your late night shows, those are excess calories. And so over time, those are going to add on weight. Again, metabolism it does slow down a little bit during the night when you're sleeping, but it never stops. Don't eat after 7, or again, some of these intermittent fasting, timed eating diets. It's really, for a lot of folks, they just like rules. So if they shut down their kitchen by 7 o'clock and don't have anything else to eat, where before they were snacking all the time, guess what? Yes, they're going to lose weight because they just cut out 300 to 500 calories every evening. But also note, if you are truly hungry before bed, so if you're laying in bed and you feel your stomach growling because you haven't eaten enough during that day, you have to know that that will affect your sleep quality, and that can have also detrimental effects down the line as far as your metabolism, weight loss, or maintaining that weight loss. So going to bed hungry is not a good thing to do. Next. How does dieting affect my metabolism? Did it slow down my metabolisms? So you may have experienced this yourself as far as yo-yo dieting, or you may have a coworker where you've seen this. And this is, what I've done for a living for the past 20 years, and I see it all the time. So myth or truth? This is a truth. Next. So anytime someone creates a large calorie deficit, it can backfire. We cannot tell our body, I'm going to eat less. I want you to burn fat. The body is going to burn what it needs to get what it needs. It will take muscle, it will take fat, it's going to use what it can get. So again, our bodies are very smart and always programmed for survival. It will always adapt to the restricted calories and therefore use fewer calories to perform a task, especially with women and women of childbearing age. The body is always thinking of the minute we start to restrict, there must be a famine coming, and I want to protect this young body in case it gets pregnant. So it always wants to. So what women will see is they may have been losing, and then all of a sudden they will hit a plateau. And that is the body, again, adjusting. The metabolism is always going to adjust based on what we're doing, outside of the body. So we don't want to do that on and off over and over again. Our hormones also respond by slowing down our metabolic rate to conserve energy. And again, if you're losing muscle from a low calorie diet, this will further decrease your metabolism. So again, you may see people who lose a lot of weight quickly. That always, to me, is worrisome, because they're not only losing fat, they're losing muscle as well. And therefore that their whole metabolic rate, metabolism, is slowing down in the process. Next. Does fidgeting and moving around a lot burn more calories? Myth or truth? Truth. So remember, go ahead next. That neat component of our metabolism equation. So this accounts for the majority of our non-resting energy needs. So people who move more in general are going to be leaner or have slightly higher metabolism. So do what you can throughout your day. You may exercise first thing in the morning, but then you sit at a desk all day long, and then you sit in a car or however you commute home. And then you get home and you're tired and you sit some more. We need to change that. We need to move more throughout our day, even if we got our exercise in the morning or in the evening. So for instance, I'm working from home today. I'm giving this talk. I'm not on the camera. I'm sitting on a yoga ball. Like, I can do this while I give my presentation. So it forces me, to move a little bit instead of sitting. And you can do this if you can put in your earbuds and walk around a little bit, move on your lunch break, all those things we've heard. Park farther away, take the stairs. Something I read about recently, I used to pride myself at getting all the grocery bags at once and bringing them into the car. Bringing them from the car into the house. Well, if I take one bag in at a time, that's better for me. So all these little places where we can move more, that's what we want to do. We used to move a lot more. We had, when I was growing up, there were no automatic windows in the car. We had to roll down our windows. We had to get up and change the channel on the television. We had to, all these things where we were moving more. And now with technology, we just don't move as much. So that's where we need to make it our mission to move more during the day. Next. Grazing all day will boost my metabolism. So eating 6 small meals a day, etc. Also a myth. Next. So again, this is more, I have a few people that I've worked with where this is very beneficial to them. They truly eat 6 small meals. For the majority of people that I've worked with, they may start out that way by eating small meals throughout the day, but slowly over time, the meals grow in size and they end up eating more calories in the end than they were when they first started. So it is a tough call. There is no research that says eating 6 times a day boosts your metabolism. So again, like I said, you have to do what works for you. Just stay within your caloric means. There's athletes that I've worked with where they have, 4 meals a day. They have like 2 lunches and then a breakfast and a meal at the end of the day. And that really works for them based on when they're exercising, how long they're exercising. But does it boost their metabolism? Not enough to promote this claim. Next. Okay, is my metabolism predetermined? Was I born with this? Is it genetic? Am I stuck with it? Myth, slight myth. There is, of course, that little genetic component, but you're not stuck with it. So genetics, again, it's just one part of the equation. Let's learn more. Next. What can you do to boost your metabolism? Again, save your money. Don't buy the pills or the teas or, whatever they're promoting. You want to increase your lean muscle mass. So the more muscle you have, the more calories that you will burn at rest. So while you're sitting at your desk working, if you have more muscle on board, you're going to be burning more calories while resting, which is really important. That's your BMR. Muscle burns more calories per hour than fat. And again, that reminder that as we age, which there's no way to stop aging, we're all aging, that muscle mass decreases. So we need to pick up those weights. we need to do a little bit of strength training, resistance training, ideally 2 to 3 times a week. And I'll talk about this a little bit more next. So again, what can I do to increase or change my metabolism? So again, focusing on our muscles, moving more. So increase that NEAT component of your metabolism. So those little bits of movement throughout the day. So not related to your everyday exercise. This is what we can do in addition to that. And then as far as nutrition goes, eating more protein and fiber may help with your metabolism. Next. So again, that TEF, the thermic effect of food, is the number of calories your body uses to digest food. So each macronutrient, carbohydrate, protein, fat, has a different thermic effect. Protein takes the most energy for your body to process, somewhere near 20% of its calories, where fat takes the least. So again, this is where having a higher protein meal, or maybe putting the focus on on the protein on your plate, more important. This is one part of the reason why high protein diets can be effective for weight loss. You're using more energy just to metabolize your meals. But reminder, there's plenty of other factors involved. So don't just start eating more protein and expect weight to fall off or gaining muscle. Protein helps build and rebuild and repair muscle, but you also have to use that muscle in order to gain muscle. Next. So there you go. Eating protein alone does not build muscle. It's when you exercise, stimulate those muscles, strength training, resistance training, that is what is going to help. Getting some protein in after a good workout is important because that helps repair damage from exercising and build up more muscle and make them stronger. Next. Eating the right amount of protein is key. You don't want to overconsume protein in addition to everything else, because again, that's just extra calories, and that will, we tend to store it, and we'll store it in the form of fat. And then it's just like when people don't eat enough protein, then the body will supply it itself, which can result in muscle breakdown and loss. We see that a lot when people are very sick or in the hospital. So when you eat a balanced diet that includes enough calories, carbohydrates, protein, then your body will not use protein as a calorie source. It will spare it to build muscle and repair them when needed. And you'll see this on my next few slides. Next. So this is how I love to teach people to eat. I have an athlete's plate, I have a child's, older adults, but for the general population, this is such a great visual and way to plan your meals. So half of your plate, we want fiber and color. So this can be your non-starchy vegetables, a little bit of fruit, the more colorful, the better. A quarter of your plate, those are your carbs or your starch. So potato, rice, pasta, bread. And then the other quarter of your plate is your protein. So this can be fish, lean meat, chicken. For my vegetarians or non-vegetarians, always including some of these, non-animal proteins, beans, lentils, tofu, tempeh. So, thinking about that, all of your meals, just remembering these pictures is really, really important. Next. And that's a great way just to get an all-around balanced meal and meet your nutritional needs, all of your nutritional needs. But what do we know about protein? It's not just your total protein intake, so you can't save it all up at dinner time. It's really spreading it out throughout the day. That's how the body does really well with breaking down food. So making sure that you have a good amount of protein at each meal. We see somewhere between 25 to 30 grams of protein per meal is ideal. So even for my athletes and people that are working out heavily, that's really important, or to follow a heavy workout with around 20 to 30 grams of protein and carb. You do need some carbs there as well. That, replenishes the muscle also. And then the recommendations change slightly as we age. So again, if we're above 50, we would add 10 grams of high quality protein to the meal. Next. So just an idea, how about 3 ounces, 3 to 4 ounces will be about the palm of your hand or a deck of cards. Next. That's between 20 to 25 grams of protein. This is one of my favorite, and I resourced her at the end of the talk, Elite Nutrition. This is off of Instagram. I just love her visuals. So how can I get over 20 grams of protein in a meal? So you can see it's about 4 ounces of chicken or salmon or a lean meat. You could do 1 cup of Greek yogurt. So adding Greek yogurt into a smoothie, 1 cup of Greek yogurt into your smoothie, you don't need the protein powder. Protein powder works and is great, but you can use it that way as well. Tempeh, tofu, eggs, etc. Next. So these were just some more breakfast ideas. Sometimes that's hard to get protein in the morning. I love adding peanut butter, almond butter to my oatmeal, even some nuts, fruits. You can really just bulk it up and think of that plate, but in a bowl form, or in the oatmeal form, or in a cereal form, or yogurt, if you're making a yogurt parfait, for instance, or a smoothie. Next. So these are just some high protein breakfast ideas that don't use eggs, because I have a lot of folks who don't like eggs. So again, you can make, kind of this high protein oat bowl, different types of smoothies, whole grain waffles. So these are toaster waffles that are advertised as whole grain and high protein, or you can make your own, or making more of a savory meal, or using leftovers in the morning. This is again from that one sports dietitian that I like, that I've resourced at the end of the talk. Fiber is really important. It takes a long time to break down, so it would probably come in right after protein. I know it's not considered a macronutrient, but it takes a lot of energy to break down fiber. So fiber is really important when it comes to weight loss and health, because it slows the speed of digestion. It keeps us fuller longer. And a lot of times these foods that are naturally high in dietary fiber are lower in calories. So think fruits, vegetables, whole grains, beans, lentils, and some other ways to just up your fiber intake. So this is an area that I definitely focus on with most people, because most people tend to not meet those recommendations for fiber. And anytime you increase your fiber intake, you also need to increase your water intake. Water helps move things through. Next. So again, exercise, really the focus is getting a little bit of that strength and resistance training into our weekly plan. Okay, so again, the more lean body mass we have, the higher that BMR, or resting metabolic rate, will be. Next. We don't have to go crazy. Next. Really, this is what we're looking for. So at least 30 minutes of exercise 5 days a week. So that can be your 5 30-minute walks at your lunch break. Or if you're a more vigorous exerciser, at least 25 minutes of vigorous exercise. But we want to make sure that and is really important, including that strength training twice a week. So strength training, weight training, whatever it is, it can be done at home. You don't have to go to a gym. You can use bands, you can use small weights, yoga where you're weight bearing, anything that is going to strengthen those muscles. We want to get that in, add that into our exercise regimen. Next. So this is just a quick little slide that you guys could read about, but just how people who started to add the resistance training in, they saw their BMR increase by about 5%, which is really great. Next. And the beauty of exercise is that it tends to raise your basal metabolic rate by 20 to 30% for several hours after the exercise. We've even seen it last sometimes up to 12 hours. So again, the more intense your workouts or exercise, the longer you'll see that boost in your BMR. Next. And these are just some of the other benefits of exercising regularly, all the things that we want to decrease as we age. Next. I think I'm getting close to my time. Find something that you love to do. I know I'm talking a lot about strength training, but the aerobic cardiovascular exercise is also really important to keep our heart and our brain healthy. I think walking is wonderful. A lot of times people don't think it's enough, but I, again, get them to walk and move every day, and then I get them to do a little bit of strength training twice a week. And then, of course, work on that NEAT component. So moving more throughout your day, breaking up those long periods of sitting, setting a timer on your watch or phone so that you're up at least for 1 to 2 minutes every hour that you're sitting. Next. I wanted to discuss sleep because that is a big component here as well. I've only got one slide dedicated to it, but this is something as a dietitian early in my career I never talked about, but now it's part of every one of my talks, every one of my one-on-one consultations. So 7 to 9 hours of sleep every night is recommended. You want to cut out caffeine after midday if you're having trouble with the quality of sleep or falling asleep. Maybe, create a relaxing bedtime ritual, really trying to turn off all the screens and devices about an hour before bedtime. And of course, being careful with alcohol, because that can also really interfere with restorative sleep. So just a couple little things here, but you'll find much more on sleep in the resources that I have at the end of the talk. Next. So this is it in a nutshell, this nice little infographic that I really like, what will help. So again, daily movement, your regular exercise that you love to do, but also really where can I sneak in that extra movement throughout my day? I usually encourage lots of water. Drink lots of water so that you have to get up and use the bathroom. Use the bathroom on a different floor. Take the stairs to get down to that bathroom. Take the stairs to get back up. I think I push the protein component a lot as well. So making sure you're getting your 20 to 30 grams of protein at each meal. Breakfast could be the more challenging meal usually. So maybe focus on that first. Get your strength training, resistance training in twice a week, 2 to 3 times a week. Get those 7 to 8 hours of sleep. If you only get 5 right now, maybe try and get 5.5, and then your goal will be to get 6, and then get 6 for a while, and then move your way towards 7. You can't save your sleep up till the weekend. It doesn't work that way. It really has to be a nightly dedication to get that good quality sleep. Avoid your extreme calorie deficits. What won't help? All of those metabolism boosting supplements. Not eating after 6, it may help you decrease your calorie intake, but it's not going to boost your metabolism. And then the other factors, don't forget those that can affect our metabolic rate. It's really, really complex. Next. Again, this is basically what I just summed up in the previous slide. So we can go next. I always like to mention red flags. Most of us are probably savvy to this already, but the promise of a quick weight loss, losing weight quickly is never good. I know we want that weight off quickly, but it can really do a number to our metabolism. We're usually losing a lot of muscle and water in the process. So low and slow is the way to go. You should not have to eliminate entire food groups. Ignore those testimonials from celebrities, influencers on social media. Are they selling something? Supplements, drinks, plans, those are all usually a gimmick attached to it. Oh, and when I say low and slow as far as weight loss, I just saw something pop up. I think half a pound a week is ideal. Half a pound to 1 pound a week is ideal. Anything more than that, to me, is a bit of a red flag. I don't know if that can be sustained or kept off. So low and slow. The next time you guys are at the grocery store, I want you to pick up a 5-pound bag of sugar and carry it around with you. 5 pounds is a lot. A lot of times my patients get very upset when they've only lost 5 pounds, and then I have to show them what that looks like and remind them it's actually a lot. So low and slow is the way to go, and celebrate each pound. And then the goal is maintaining that loss before you lose more. Next. So the best diet or meal plan is something that you can stick to. It's not about how big of a change you make in the shortest period of time. It's about how many small changes you can make over a long period of time. That's where we see success. So I truly believe that's the recipe of success. Next. I think that's it. So these are just some great websites, and these were actually a lot of the references of where I got my material from. Those images with the food from elitenutrition.com, or you can find her on Instagram. She has very evidence-based, simple ways. Definitely more sports nutrition, exercise nutrition related. Next. And these are some of my favorite resources to share. I know a lot of questions came through the chat. There's just so many myths and misinformation on nutrition out there. So these would be just some great resources for you. I can't answer all these questions. If it sounds too good to be true, it probably is. That's something I say a lot. And a lot of us know deep down what's good for us and what probably is not good for us. But I love eatright.org. I love heart.org. That's the American Heart Association. And if you click on healthy living, they just have wonderful, not only nutrition, but exercise recommendations, stress reduction, just healthy living. It's, kind of that whole bubble of what it takes to live a long, healthy life. Next, I think that's it. Yeah, thank you. Everybody, did I make it in 45
You
minutes?
sure did, Claudia. Woo! It's Laura. Sorry.
Sure.
In there. Yes, thank you so much, Claudia, for this fabulous presentation and information. The next couple of slides that I want to just review are for HealthNet members. If they can stay on to track their health, go ahead and go to the next one. Just as a reminder for those who need to leave before I cover these 4 or 5 slides very quickly, you will receive an email tomorrow with a link to the recording. So everybody who registered, regardless of if you were able to attend today or not, will receive a link to the recording tomorrow. So Decision Power Health and Wellness, this is where our members can find our wellness programs and other resources simply by logging on to your HealthNet account. Our health risk assessment is called the Real Age Assessment. So make sure to take that and to check out our other wellness center programs. Next, Elise. All right, so telephonic support provides help at your fingertips. So sometimes it's hard for us to tackle new health goals. They can be challenging, but you don't have to face it alone. Maybe this is the year that you want to explore health coaching. Our coaches will help you prioritize your goals, strategize a plan, and support you through your journey and help you tackle those little bumps in the road. Also, if you have a health concern, our HealthNet members can call the nurse advice line and speak with a registered nurse. Don't forget about our discounts. Next, Elise. Save money and take advantage of our member discounts. HealthNet members can receive discounts on everything from Weight Watchers to chiropractor and acupuncture services, eye care, hearing aids, and our fitness club discount. Now, if you're not a HealthNet member, that's okay. Check with your health plan and see if they offer similar programs, services, and discounts. And don't forget about don't forget about our online health challenges through our the My Strength program. This has proven tools for your mind, body, and spirit. This online program is available in an app form for your smartphone, as well as so you can have some more support at home and on the go. This is a really great program for reducing stress, anxiety, depression, or substance abuse. It has quick modules and videos from mental health professionals, guided meditations, and inspirations. All kinds of topics, including joy, laughter, positivity, meditation, mindfulness, relaxation, COVID-19, and racism, just to name a few. And it's free for our HealthNet members. All right. Next is our online health challenges. This is through our wellness platform. The ongoing monthly challenges include stress, steps, and sleep, and they're actually open to everyone, HealthNet and non-HealthNet members. It's not too late to join the Healthier You Challenge. Now, if you've been tracking your green days already, you'll get credit for that. This challenge runs through the end of July. So with Healthier You, you're challenging yourself to achieve a green day, 60 days out of 90. So to earn a green day on the platform, 8 out of 13 factors, such as stress, weight, sleep, exercise, they must be green. For example, achieving 7 hours of sleep earns a green day for that sleep factor. And we know that earning green days help to contribute to the reduction in your real age score, or the health risk assessment score. Next, please mark your calendar and join us for our next wellness webinar in July, titled Your Brain Matters. Now, we know the brain is one of the largest and the most complex organs in the body. It's made up of more than 100 billion nerves that communicate in trillions of connections called synapses. The webinar is going to include information on anatomy and function, types of brain injuries, brain injury prevention, Alzheimer's and other brain conditions, and of course, ways to keep your brain healthy and engaged. I hope you will join me for that. Thank you so much for your time today. Please remember, if you attended this webinar in a conference room or used a single webinar access with your team, please chat that number of attendees to Kristen. Again, you'll receive an email with a link to this recording tomorrow. Thank you so much. You may now exit the webinar.